loud so that I can hear. Yeah.
Am I better?
Yeah, now it's better. Now it's better. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Mr. Rohit. You're also here. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing good. How about you?
Very good. Thank you. We have Mr. Sen also online. He's your fellow panelist for today.
Hi, Rohit.
Hi.
So I can see a lot of attendees already. A lot of students are going to be joining us today. So they're very excited for a lot of questions and this intense session with you guys. We will definitely move on to our agenda once we have all the speakers here. But in the meantime, how about you tell me your self-discovery during this quarantine period and what have you learned? What has this crisis taught you on a personal level?
Oh, so I think so again, it's a mixed reaction. Although I'm not liking being at home, still I'm working from home, and it takes a lot of energy and effort to really work from home. But on a personal side, I think I learned cooking. I was not at all a good cook. I experimented, and now I can definitely say I'm reasonably good at it. And
You can save yourself if required.
Yeah, I think I now I cook for the family and my family loves it. In fact, they want to have that I should cook now forever. So that's the flip side of it. Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Allow me to welcome Mr. Ramesh Kumar as well. Hi, Mr. Kumar. Can we do a quick sound check with you? How are you doing? Mr. Kumar, can you hear me? Mr. Kumar, am I audible? No, you can't hear me. Okay. I guess. How about you log out? I'm texting you. Just give me a second. I've sent you a chat. Okay. Can I just excuse myself for a second? I'm going to tell somebody from my team to take care of this.
Sure.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I'm Ramesh Kumar, Executive Director from IFCO
Hi.
Tokyo.
Yes. How are you, Mr. Kumar?
Fine, thank you.
Very good. Good to know that you're fine. Actually, before you joined in, I was talking to Mr. Sen and Mr. Sharma about their quarantine self-discoveries and what they've learned during this time before we actually start off in another 5 minutes. So I'm just going to move on to Mr. Sharma and quickly get his idea and whatever his discovery has been during this time.
Okay.
I think it is. So I have always been a very restless soul. So I think it has given me a time to do a lot of introspection, and I think it has enhanced my empathy towards others. So now I'm not looking and not nitpicking. I am looking as to what positive they are bringing and what positive they are doing. And on a personal side, I have gone back to my first love in literature, that is Hindi poetry. So I am doing a lot of reading and a bit of writing as well.
Beautiful. If you want, you can share a small prose or a couple of lines if you want. We'd be really
I'm not sure. Maybe some other time.
All right. If ever it crosses your mind during this conversation, please feel free. Would be very happy to hear something from you. Thank you for sharing that, Mr. Sharma. Mr. Kumar, can I move on to you and understand what has this time taught you? How have you grown on a personal level during this time?
Good afternoon to all of you. Actually, as we are essential service, we were allowed to function.
Right.
But then insurance being in essential, but then I was only till now I don't think I'm working with more than 50% of our employees' strength. Earlier we started with 5%, we went to 25% actually. But a few things which has, on personal front, if you ask me, a little bit of more hygiene has been inculcated in our system. Now we keep washing our hands every time, which we used to avoid at times. And our employees are also doing the same. Sanitization is there. But one thing I can tell you, that during this uh, COVID times, we went on hiring people because we are in a growing stage. And last year we had done around 8,000 crores of turnover. And this time we are contemplating to achieve 9,000 as such. That is our budget. And for that we required manpower. So as a matter of fact, between the last 3 months, that is April, May, and June, around 400 employees have joined us, additional employees.
That's amazing. Yeah, because a lot of students are also listening into us, and I will definitely get back to you on
Yes.
that professional
And I
front.
have done campus recruitment also. I
Great.
mean, they might be knowing IFCO Tokyo, especially for example, Birla Institute and all, they know it. Even BHU, I hire people from the IT segment. I'm sorry. So those things we have been doing. And except for the fact that we have started working from home, also allowing people to work from home. And of course, more online transactions have started, especially the support functions. More or less, we have, unfortunately, no untoward incident, although there have been about 20 people who were around the country out of the 6,000 force manpower. Around 20 people were having this infected with COVID, but fortunately, all of them are safe. That is a good part.
Good to know. That's good
And
to know. Mr. Kumar, I will definitely get back to you quickly on the
Yes.
professional front once we officially begin.
yes,
I just want to quickly welcome Mr. Anil as well, who has just joined us. Hi, Mr. Anil. Can you hear me? Mr. Anil, can you hear me?
Yeah, please.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi.
Yes, sir. Hi.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
Yeah, well, this due to this COVID problem, we are facing, of course, problems, but our university has taken many steps like online learning. So at first we gave this thing concentration on online teaching. So after completion of the academic course, we switched over to this online examinations, and now we are going to declare the result of final year's students very soon. So that is the good thing our university has done. So in that way, we are just coping with this COVID-19 problem.
What has been your personal learning during this time? If you could just quickly in one line tell us anything that you rediscovered about yourself, just you as a person.
Personally, if you want to just this thing here, I feel due to this COVID problem, reverse migration, uh, that is an opportunity for local administration to engage the returned laborers in gainful employment. We can get the use of this thing laborers, especially labor intensive sections like livestock, horticulture, beekeeping, food processing, which have not developed so far. And the laborers who have returned can be used to reverse this trend. Laborers can also be involved in creation and restoring of rural infrastructure, go downs, water management, and in food and fodder processing.
I think obviously this is a time, Mr. Anil, this is a time where a lot of new professions are also emerging. I will definitely get back to you on that. I think we have another last one of our speakers joining us, Mr. Sudhanshu. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Sudhanshu.
Hi, how
Can
are
you
you
hear-
doing?
I'm very fine. Thank you very much. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Clear?
Yes, you are. Yes,
Okay,
you are.
thank you.
Actually,
Thank you.
we've got around 120 people who are listening into us on Zoom, and my team has officially made the session live. So I think without any further ado, please allow me to officially welcome all of you to our session today. So everyone, a big welcome to people who are joining us on Zoom and people who are joining us on various other streaming platforms like Facebook, LinkedIn. Big welcome and hi to all of you. This is going to be a very interesting session. Allow me to present to you this panel on IISER Group of Universities presents HR Conclave powered by Observe Now. So today we're going to be talking about the future of job opportunities for young workforce, particularly in the agricultural sector and also other sectors which are developing and coming up. What are the job opportunities that are available for students at this point in time, and what does the hiring curve look like during this COVID era and obviously in the future. Before we begin, I'd just like to give a quick brief on ISEC Group of Universities. So ISEC Group of Universities have established 5 units in universities in MP, Bihar, Chhattisgarh, and Jharkhand. All the universities are recognized under the UGC Act and are accredited by now. The main focus of the group is to provide research and intensive quality education so that their students grow. A quick brief of Observe Now. We are a knowledge-based news media startup, and we're coming out with India's first citizen journalism app, where we will be providing the tool of citizen journalism to you guys and many more, and every citizen of the country who wishes to combat fake news and present his thoughts. So thank you very much for listening into that. Please allow me to welcome our Power Pack panel today. We've got Mr. Rohit Sharma, who's the head of HR operations for Bayer. Hi, Mr. Sharma.
Hi.
We've got Mr. Sudhanshu Mishra, who's the CHRO of Tata Coffee. Hi, Mr. Mishra.
Hi everyone. Good evening.
Good evening. We've also got Mr. Abhimanyu Sen, who's the Senior General Manager and Head HR at Mahindra Ford. Hi, Mr. Sen.
Yeah, hello. Good evening. It's a pleasure being here.
Indeed, a pleasure for us as well. Thank you. Mr. Ramesh Kumar, who's the Executive Director, HR, Admin and Training for IFFCO Tokyo. Hi, Mr. Kumar.
Hello, good evening to all.
Good evening. And we've got Dr. Anil Kumar, who's the Dean of Faculty Agriculture at Rabindranath Tagore University. Hi, Mr. Kumar.
Yeah, hello, good evening to all of you.
Good evening.
Good evening. I'm so excited to have all of you here. But before I put on my first question for the panel, a quick note to the attendees who, as I can see, are increasing by every second that we talk. So we'll try to keep this session as interactive as possible. So whatever questions, thoughts, comments you have, please do not hesitate to put them in the comment box below. If you're listening into us on Zoom, you can send it on the chat box and I will try to take up as many questions as possible with my panelists. And if you're listening into us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or any other social media platform, please put in your questions, or thoughts, or comments in the comment section. I will make sure to take those up with the panel here. So everyone, let's, I think, officially begin. So before we started this session off, I was trying to understand what this quarantine has taught all of us and how this has changed our lives. Of course, that was more of a personal side that we were talking about. But now I want to make this migration to understanding how and what has been the impact of COVID-19 in the agriculture sector. How the kind of disruption that we've seen in the supply chain, what kind of ripple effects has it caused in the corporate job sector across the country as well? So I think the first question I would like to first put out to you, Mr. Anil, and if you could quickly tell us the impact this C-19 has had on the agriculture sector, and in 2 lines, if you could just give your opening, 2 minutes, if you could give your opening statement, please.
Okay, just in the beginning, I was telling that to finish the exams and before that to finish the study, that was our big challenge, big task. Because, you know, we observed that the health crisis around COVID-19 that affected all walks of life in our country. Immediately after the nationwide lockdown, various measures were taken to mostly to protect the vulnerable sections, including farmers. Like this COVID-19 impact is also obvious on agriculture sector hiring workforce. So that was the problem. And for that, we made some preparations. And our Honorable Chancellor, Sri Santosh Chaubey, envisaged that this crisis from the very beginning. And our university took the necessary steps for online classes, online final examinations without compromising the quality of education. Due to this timely decision and constant efforts, final year results is going to be declared very soon. Besides this, industry-oriented training programs to develop the overall growth of the students that was organized at regular intervals to prepare the students so that the students can face the interviews of various companies with complete confidence. So in that way, we did this effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Anil, for your opening statement here. Can I move on to you, Mr. Mishra, and can I have your thoughts on understanding what kind of impact has this disruption in the supply chain in agriculture caused on corporate jobs here as well? And how have you seen this crisis and how are you mitigating at the moment?
I think I will be specific because it will be interest to the audience and the students particularly. I'm going back to my own company, Tata Coffee.
Please.
We have plantations. We have plantations in 3 states: Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Karnataka. And we employ around 5,000 to 7,000 workers who are migratory workers. Okay. And there are 5,000 to 7,000 permanent workers who are there, and the migratory workers come from mostly eastern part of the country, Assam, Jharkhand, West Bengal, and they come for a season during plucking time and all. And the plucking time was in peak, and the COVID lockdown started. And as usual, any workman who comes for a particular season for 4 to 5 months time, they wanted to go back. So you can imagine 5,000 to 6,000 people when trains are not operational, buses are not operational, food system is not in place. They wanted to go back. So as a corporate, we had 2 choices. We just leave them because they were not our permanent employees as it is, or we facilitate their movement so that they think that, as a corporate, we have done rightful for them. So next year when the opportunity comes, they will come back again. So we have to mobilize the transportation and support of all our workforce going back. I'm just giving one side of the story, which is mobilizing the workforce to move back to their home state. Till the time they reach, we kind of connected with them on phone, confirm that they have safely reached home. But it is impact on the business side. The reason is, agriculture is a business because as a university professor, Anil will understand this. You cannot half plug the plant and half leave this for the next rest of the period. It will be making huge losses. So we have to parallelly mobilize support from the local communities and our existing workforce to make the production of the plant running till the time the season was getting over. That itself was a humongous task. In addition to the barriers of lockdown, like you have to have a mask, you have to maintain social distance, everything was going on, and you have to deal with people who are not illiterate, So we have created multiple video clips. We have created, posters every day, first hour of the job. That is, we used to start plantations generally. They start by 7 o'clock in the morning, 7 to 7:45. Education in place. All our managers, supervisors, they have to educate our workforce, and then they need to go to the field for agriculture. So the impact is humongous on the agriculture side, because you cannot work from home.
How is it affecting jobs as well? Are we seeing a lot of layoffs in the sector?
No, we are not looking at layoffs, particularly in the agriculture sector. People are looking to come back to work. And if you look at, I'm going to now particularly addressing the students, the agriculture students, if they are agriculture students or if they are engineering students or agriculture students or management students, food sector is not looking at anything is layoff other than the service providers. For example, your service providers is the hotel, restaurant is a service provider, your Zomato, or these are service providers. Otherwise, the production sector or the agriculture-based manufacturing sector, we have not experienced anything. We have not done anything in our company, and I am sure I have been interacting with other colleagues who are in the similar kind of field. I have not experienced that as a setback. Only challenge is there will be a delay in appointment because people are not mobile now. So we see that is a challenge. For example, many people are unable to join. We have given offers, they are unable to join because of the mobility situation. Or some people are requesting, can we join a little later because I don't want to move out right now. So other than that, I don't think there is a impact on the job market from agriculture related food sector. Not the service side of it. I'm talking about purely plantation, agriculture, manufacturing, production. It is still on. And you will see I think students will be observing that most of our food product industry are actually increasing their production base because of the staple food market.
Absolutely. Thank you for your question there. Can I move on to you, Mr. Sharma, and have your thoughts on this, please?
I'll just go a step back and say that even without COVID, the challenge we are facing as a agriculture industry or the world is that we are facing that year on year the land for agriculture is getting reduced, whereas the world population is on rise. So this means we have to feed more with less, which can only happen if we increase the yield per unit of land, that too substantially. So what I feel that COVID crisis has slowed down on some of the improvement initiatives that various organizations have been experimenting, have been implementing. But as far as impact to agriculture, I think because obviously government has categorized agriculture as essential services, there are some facilities, etc. So I think the impact to the agrarian economy has been very limited. All of us knew that the lockdown was sudden and we didn't get time to prepare ourselves individually as an organization. But going just by our experience, what we found is that when we got in touch with the government agencies, they were really very helpful and were willing to provide all the required assistance. What happened during I think in the month of mid-March is something where we faced lockdown. Where we faced issues was getting the seeds and chemicals to the farmers, as that was the start of the season. But with the help of the government agencies and some very good resourcefulness from our field employees, we were able to manage that. Another issue that we got was about the transportation, because the supply chain was affected to a very large extent. But obviously we learned from that experience very quickly and got to leverage our vast network of warehouses. And as Mr. Mishra was saying that the migrant workers were going back to their homes, which led to the acute shortage of labor in the field. So somehow we try to help the farmers with the contingent labor agencies that we have to the best extent we have. So in terms of jobs, what we can say that we have hired about 350 colleagues over the first 6 months of the year. Obviously, it has been, Bayer is not only in agriculture, they are into pharma. We have got a big shared service as well. So the hiring has been across, but we are on a hiring spree, and today also we have been hiring. So I don't see any gaps in terms of hiring or any terms in terms of talent pool. But as we can see that it is a different experience altogether, because we are onboarding them remotely.
It's a first time for everyone.
Training is happening remotely, and so the experience is totally different. So the employee experience that we were very passionate about, we have to find out new ways to looking at as to how that employee experience can be leveraged on.
Absolutely agree. And we're also running this quick poll where we are asking everyone, the students who are joining us, who are here on Zoom, and we're asking them if they're anxious about getting jobs after graduation. So as of now, I've gotten 67% replies for yes, 18% replies for no, and 14% replies for leaders like you to guide them. So I think based on what I've heard so far from the panelists, I would like to address all the students here, that level of anxiety should come down, because especially when we talk to these leaders about the jobs in our agriculture sector, I think we are seeing a steady rise and steady growth here. And please feel free to vote for other questions as well, so that we can take them up with our panelists. Can I quickly move on to you, Mr. Kumar, and have your thoughts on this, please?
Good evening once again. But as I had told you earlier, see, this lockdown started in the 3rd week of March, and our financial year was ending. But despite that, we were able to achieve our budget. That was the target. And as far as employment was concerned, I have told you already that we are the company who have employed in the first 3 months around 400 people.
Right.
Basically most in the marketing, and till now I'm just getting a slip from my colleague, 415 people actually, to be precise. They have been given employment by IFFCO Tokyo, and this is an organization which comes under the essential services, and so we are looking after our people. But our setback has been only in the business of motor. You see, the motor sales has gone down, the vehicle sales has gone down in the country like anything.
Yes.
And so that is
We
the
will
aspect
go
of-
to Mr. Sen on for that as well
Yes.
after you finish.
So, but
Yes.
and as far as training etc. was concerned, we have already had the online training, but we developed it on the mobile app, and we have training on various products as well as HR, various policies, procedures, induction program, etc. On all these are there on the mobile app. And then, of course, we had this online training, and we are the only insurance company in the country to give revision in salary. And it ranged from 18% to 30% of hike in the salary of our employees.
Right.
It's the only company, I can tell you with full confidence and with full, yeah, that this is the only company. People may have given increments, etc., but we revised the salary with an increase of 18 to 30%, depending upon the experience. Number one, that is the vintage as well as the performance over the years, and besides the normal increment and all those things that has taken place. So employee, we have not terminated a single employee, we have not retrenched a single employee, and on the contrary, we have given a revision in salary. And I can tell you the attrition also, very naturally so, the attrition rate this time in our company, usually we are falling between 10 to 11%, though, or as a whole, it is about 25% in the insurance industry among the private sector players. But this year, of course, due to this COVID, our attrition rate has gone down like anything, and it is at the rate of rather 2 to 3%, between 2 to 3% at present. If you want to know, I know the exact figures of only 46 employees have resigned out of a strength of about 5,000 people around. So this is what we have been doing, and we are keeping our fingers crossed that with the passage of time, our business in this financial, this is the financial sector, part of financial sector, that is insurance, will grow. And we have to develop more on the health insurance part, because it is now giving more concern to employees. And we have developed a new product of Corona also, related to Corona itself, of course, approved by our regulator. And we are into that also, to not only the hospitalization and mediclaim, etc., that is different, but domiciliary confinement, quarantinement, and the treatment, etc., will also be looked after. So these are the new things which we have learned. And of course, as I told you, social distancing and working at home, from home, has also increased a lot.
Absolutely. I think that a lot of people are now calling it the new normal, and a lot of HR
Yes.
heads are also starting to figure out strategies to integrate it as a strategic function. More on that later. Can I now quickly, thank you for your thoughts, can I now quickly move on to Mr. Sen? And Mr. Sen, I know you come from a different background than the rest of our panelists. So if you could just throw some light on how this COVID has impacted the jobs in in the automobile sector as well, because we have a lot of engineering students also who are joining us in the attendees today. So your thoughts and advice to them.
Yeah, so this is interesting, and thanks to my fellow panelists, I am learning a lot from them. Okay, so I think in the automotive sector was, before the COVID, was already with a lot of stress in terms of changing preferences to electric vehicles, connected vehicles, autonomous vehicles. There's a lot of technological shifts that we were envisioning in terms of moving from IC engine to battery technology and things like that. Apart from this, there was BS6 transitions. So automotive sector before COVID was already in a lot of VUCA, and with COVID, actually the VUCA has only strengthened. So if there's something which is called VUCA, it is here right now, which automotive sector or automotive industry is going through at the moment. Okay, now having said this, of course, you have a lot of auto ancillary. So when I say automotive sector, it's not only about the OEMs that manufacture vehicles, but a whole lot of, the ancillary units which are there, which are associated with the automotive OEMs. And then you have the entire dealer community which is associated. So I think there's a lot of stress on the systems. For example, no one could have imagined that in the month of April, not a single billing happened by any of the OEMs. Okay, not a single billing, and you still need to run the show. You have overheads, you have facilities, offices, payment of salaries, contract workers, so all those things were there in any ways. Okay, right now, if I look at the volumes for the month of May, of course, I think 20% than last year, 20 to 25%. June was relatively better. We are 40% of last year, so it's gaining momentum. See, automotive spending is still a discretionary spending. Okay, when on other hand you have employees of other companies or other sectors, having job loss, especially if I talk about the retail industry, hospitality, airlines. I think there were job losses which are reported in the newspaper, etc. We heard them. So automotive spending is still a discretionary item to spend, especially about the SUVs. I come from Mahindra and Ford, so it is into SUVs. SUVs is a discretionary spending altogether. People can postpone its purchase. So we are seeing a lot of stress. But having said this, as Mahindra, and also Ford. So there's a partnership between Mahindra and Ford, which is happened. The company is incorporated, but it's not yet operational. So I'm moving from Mahindra and Mahindra to that Ford joint venture, which is there. So as Mahindra and Mahindra, we haven't really retrenched anyone. No job cuts have happened. We have taken care of all our workmen, or because that is what the philosophy of Mahindra company is all about. But then what we are doing is, how do we really streamline?
Are you hiring at the moment?
No, we are not hiring. So we have only stopped our hiring. We have stopped our hiring till by another few more months. Maybe, hopefully, we expect, by October, November, hopefully things should be slightly better. We should have a vaccine in place. Hopefully by that time, that's a festival time. Festival time always gives sales to the automotive companies. So hopefully by that time, at least you see some more momentum coming up. We had 40% of last year right now.
But we do understand, because the automotive sector has been greatly impacted. So there has to be a bit of a freeze at this point in time, because if the sales are affected, of course, the new hiring would be affected. And I think it's a good news for every student.
But we have gone ahead. Whatever commitments we had made to our offers, we have recruited all of them, including the campus hires, the management trainees, the summer interns. Everybody has joined. They completed their internship online. So all those things have happened. But then no more new offers from April onwards. And that is what have been the mantra right now. And it will be like this for additionally couple of more months.
Okay. Thank you for sharing your thoughts here. And I want to quickly take up one question that a attendee of ours, Mr. Patel, has been putting up. So it is actually for all the agrarian panelists here. So quickly, if you could tell us, he wants to understand, why are young people usually not interested in the field of agriculture? And is this due to the perception of farming that we've had, that is unprofitable? And obviously his next question also somehow relates to the same thing, where he wants to understand that people are more attracted to a profession like doctors or engineers. But can we now, when a lot of agrarian startups are coming up, when so much focus of the government has been on developing the agriculture sector, India being an agrarian economy, companies like Tata and IFCO coming into this stream, can we now expect a big hiring, a big boom in terms of students coming up for courses like this? Can I have your thoughts on this, Mr. Mishra, first, please?
I think there is a, we have to look at the history of India. If you look at agriculture, was never an organized sector. For before the independence and after the independence, for many years, it was never an organized sector. Slowly, even now also, if I have to look at, it will be maximum, 5% of the agriculture is happening through the organized sector. Then I'm talking about agriculture, pure agriculture, which is planting trees and taking the production. That is what I'm talking about. That is not organized. And there is a tendency of youngsters to get into a job which is to identify himself or herself with particular organization. So if anyone want to actually get into agriculture sector, he have to be an entrepreneur himself by buying a land or doing something by himself, which is little away from us. But slowly, if you look at last 15 to 20 years, many of the corporates are getting into unorganized agriculture sector, bringing them into a organized sector. So I see one trend coming up. Many people, young people I know, many of them, they come to us, reach out to us. they are doing a lot of research related to food and agriculture, and they wanted to implement those as part of their startup journey. And I have seen in patches in closer to Pune when I was there in Pune and in Bangalore and other areas, people are getting into it, but it is yet to get the prominence of a job sector like a IT job sector
That's
or
true, that's true.
other sectors. So it will take little more time, but the hardship in agriculture sector actually is another region. That second region is the hardship. Somebody have to go to the field. It is not a AC room and it is not a covered area. Somebody have to get to the field, under the sun, under the cold. You have to manage that field. It is not going to sit inside a room and doing anything. For example, you cannot work from home when you are in the agriculture work. So
Absolutely.
this entire world
That's
is
the-
discussing, debating, about work from home. But can you allow the workers to work from home who are on the agriculture field? So there is a hardship. I think that is the reason why many people are not excited to get into the hardship.
Okay, fair enough. Can I quickly get your thoughts, Mr. Kumar, on this?
You see, rightly pointed out by Mr. Mishra that agriculture has never been the organized sector. I mean, we also have our ancestral lands in North Bihar, actually. But there is another aspect, the social aspect also. What happened that with the enhancement in the family, in the sense brothers and sisters, for example, the plots also started getting smaller and smaller, and it was difficult to actually sustain the livelihood. So people started migrating from the villages towards the town, looking for some job, maybe in the construction sector or motor sector or whatever it is. So people started moving out. People started looking towards professionalism, such as whether or technical experts as engineers, doctors, maybe even management, doing management. And I have seen, I mean, since 1980, when I passed out, since now I have seen how the management institutes have grown and how the number of people are taking this course to become a professional and go and get a job somewhere. So there has been a shift to that. And that is why our sector, agriculture sector, has suffered in the country, because people are not that much, having that affinity towards agriculture. And now the government, of course, and again, I have seen, I don't know whether all of my dear colleagues and panelists have observed or not, but I have seen with my own eyes when people from Gurgaon, our head office is at Gurgaon actually, in the highway, people moving, hordes of people moving out, migrating from the industrial town of Gurgaon, where I have seen Maruti workers also. Many of them have moved out. And now I see they will be facing problem in the villages where they go, and they see they don't have the livelihood. Their land is very small. Maybe their brother or uncle, somebody is stealing that land. And there will be a spurt of problems there also. That is what I envisage at present. This is what I want to say. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Kumar. Can I move on to you, Mr. Sharma? And from you, I want to understand. I hope that answers your question, Anand. Mr. Sharma, I want to understand from you. I think from now on, it's going to be BC before Corona and after Corona for all of us, no matter what sector we belong to. So can we talk about the impact, how you're envisioning the agriculture sector during, after this crisis is over, whenever we hit the bottom of this? What impact can you foresee on the sector?
See, the world that we knew maybe in 2019 or early part of 2020 is gone and gone forever. That world is never going to come back, right? And so what is happening is worldwide we are reeling under collective loss of that we have seen. So all the sectors, whether it is agriculture or manufacturing or aviation, financial, all the sectors will feel the impact of this. As I was saying that we have bigger problems when it comes to agriculture. Just to also take from the last question that you asked, so, and particularly in India, as Mr. Kumar was mentioning, that the lands per farmer or the land acreage per farmer is very less. So what we have is in our organization, we have got a project or an initiative which is known as smallholders farming. Because what happens is a solution which may work in US or Brazil, where people have hectares and hectares of land, may not work in this part of India.
Right.
So that is something that we will need to look at. Uh, of course, agriculture will also change in terms of how do we do, because labor, as we know, labor will be wary of coming to fields in short time, and I'm not sure as to how the long term will look like. Another thing that is of very importance is the supply chain. We will need to really strengthen the supply chain, uh,
Right.
because if the produce which is not getting to the, because obviously with a lot of lockdowns and various states having their own rules about as to how this lockdown is implemented, the timing of transportation has already increased, and
Right.
all the agriculture produced are perishable goods, right? So they cannot last for longer, and we don't have cold storages which is there. So I think there is a lot of thing that needs to be put into the supply chain. Another thing is the infrastructure. So all this cold storages and all this kind of thing will have to be looked upon. And obviously the safety is of paramount importance. It is, even though we are talking about vaccine coming in the year end or the early part of 2021, I'm not sure as to how safe that will be, and this thing will continue for some time. So we'll have to
Yeah.
make peace with it and start living with it, accepting it,
Correct.
and putting safety measures in place rather than fearing it. It should now become part of our regular life, and we should be talking about it like any other disease.
Absolutely. There are some good thoughts there. Thank you very much. Can I move on to you, Mr. Anil? And from you, I want to understand, since you come from the student side here, can you tell me what kind of courses have students been more interested in at this point in time? Any new requests that you're getting? Any course that has seen a large number of enrollment at this point in time? What is the student trend at this point in time? What courses are they more drawn to? You're on mute. You're on mute from your end. Mr. Anil, you're on mute.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So, when we talk about the impact of C19 and other things, again, I wish to come back to the reverse migration of laborers. They can be involved in creation and restoring of rural infrastructure, go downs, water management, in food and fodder processing. Such type of this thing industries or such type of events can be taken with the help of these laborers. Hands-on training program for skill development and entrepreneurship running in Rabindranath Tagore University, that is very useful in this aspect. These training programs are being given in subject fields like, smart horticulture, commercial beekeeping, mushroom cultivation, food processing, organic production technology, protected horticulture.
So have you seen a rise in students inquiring about courses like horticulture or mushroom production? Is there a trend of increase or decrease? What is the situation like right now?
See, if you talk about the trend, that is not so popular. And if you want to, you want to increase the income of farmers, like Modi ji was saying, and government was saying, so we have to have this thing, thinking on this type of aspects, like mushroom cultivation, beekeeping, smart horticulture. We'll have to give the emphasis on such aspects. And for that, we give special training on these subjects in our university. And I wish to tell here, our university is first skill-based university in the region, and other skill courses also, which are very much needed for the increasing the income of farmers. They are very much needed. They ensure the employability also and develop entrepreneurship. So we'll have to give
Absolutely.
attention.
Entrepreneurship in these
Yeah.
sectors can definitely give a big boost.
Yes.
I think that's good. Thank you very much for your thoughts there, Mr. Anil.
Mhm.
Can I move on to you, Mr. Sen, now? And I sort of have a similar question here for you. So, from a broad perspective, can you help me and other students who are listening in to us, around 200 at the moment? Can you tell us what kind of skill set is required at this point in time that you would recommend students to build in their resumes? There are a lot of online courses available. EdTech players have seen a huge boom. So there is no dearth of courses available right now. Any suggestions in particular from you that you'd like to tell them? And even if they come from the automobile sector as well, if they're doing mechanical engineering, maybe how that would help in their hiring eventually.
So I think number one is, it's something which I always tell to students. I interact with a lot of students in campuses.
Right.
There's something which I always tell, irrespective of whichever field they are in, develop your deep expertise in the subject. I think it's extremely important to develop that. Whatever the situation is, COVID, not COVID, whatever it is. Sometimes I feel, and it also pains me, that we have superficial knowledge of things. We don't go into details of understanding the subject, and then we have opinions on it. So I think this is number one, fundamental. Please develop deep expertise. I think gone are the days where you have the generalist skills can survive. Okay, perhaps in our generation it would have been, some of us could have survived, but then not anymore. Okay, number two is develop new age skills. A lot of companies are going into digital space because that is what the mantra will be. Be it retail, be it automotive, be it or any other sector for that matter. Digital is here to stay. So see from your own functional expertise what kind of digitization will be applicable to that your own functional skill sets, and enroll in those courses which make sense, which give you that value. Okay, in your specialist function. On going digital. Don't take a course for the sake of taking a course. It's digital, but digital for what? I understand it has to augment your fundamental functional skill sets. Number three is as a behavior. I think we need to be very curious and have lot of humility. As long as we have humility, we will accept. It's easier for us to unlearn, and the curiosity factor will always help ourselves to be adaptive to new ways of learning. Now, people who are students, I will also urge you 3 or 4 things which I think are important, especially in these times. Number one, be open to ideas. Don't put yourself in silos. For example, I'm a brand person, so I cannot be in sales. I'm just giving an example. I see a lot of things, a lot of people stating this, I am so and so, therefore I need to do so and so. It's all about experiences. The more richer experiences you get, more variety of experiences you get, the better it is for you. The other piece is, I think don't keep yourself benchmarking with the past. For example, my CTC is XYZ. I can't take this role. Right now, if somebody is out of job, it's important to get a job for yourself. Okay, so I think it's important not to benchmark yourself. The past, your past is your past. It's the experience that you have, which can always help you to get something worthwhile in future. Keep your ego out. Focus yourself. So sometimes all of us have got egos, but in this moment, be humble, learn new skills, and ultimately, it's all about having variety of experiences. But again, develop a deep expertise in your area. For example, if I am a HR professional, I should know what are the upcoming trends in human resources. I should be an expert in a couple of them.
Subject matter depth is very important here.
So I think these are my things. These are fundamentals. It's nothing to do with COVID or post-COVID or whatever it is. These are fundamentals which will help you to
and now I think it's just that you have that extra time in hand, you might as well brush up on these skills.
Absolutely. So don't waste your time. If it's a lockdown, please develop a new skill, learn a new course, develop a hobby, enrich your lives. I think this is an important aspect which I think all of us at some point of time need to do it, and same is true for the student community as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for those thoughts, Mr. Sen. Can I move on to you, Mr. Mishra? And I have the same question for you. Any recommendations for any courses, any suggestions how students can best utilize this time?
I wanted to actually suggest something which is in line with what Abhimanyu just mentioned. I wanted to suggest something very different. Last 3 months, I have seen at least hundreds of requests coming to me through different channels that can I do a free internship? I found it is very interesting. The reason is, if you sit idle at home, doing nothing, you are not augmenting your skills at all. By doing an internship with an experienced person in anywhere, even if it is a kirana shop, I'm just giving an example which is not exaggerated. Even if it is a kirana shop, even if it is in the local society where you stay, society office, if you do any internship, even if it is for 2 months, 3 months, you get the practical exposure, and you are not paid for that. I will suggest students, please go for it. You do number of internships, you are actually augmenting your skills and bringing your experience to a level which is better than others who are not doing that. That is clear cut the number one advice I'll give to the student. The other thing is, don't ever think that you are a failure because you are not getting a job. Because I know for sure in my career of last 20 plus years, I have seen a lot of best of the candidates, best of my colleagues, they lose their jobs and they wait for a year to get a job. So my advice to students, don't think at any point of time that you are a failure or you are a burden to your family. Don't think like that. Be humble to the ground and start doing internships, even if it is free of cost. The second part is every day, make it a point to read something. If you don't read something, you are actually getting killed by yourself. Nobody is going to teach you. I'm sorry, there is institute, but I must tell you that institute is only giving you material to read. Institute is only, yes, institute is only giving you a framework to read. It is just facilitating. Please continue reading one per day, at least 1 page per day, and do an internship. Once you complete one internship, if you don't have a job, do another internship. Don't mind to go to any level to do an internship. You can do an online internship. You can do, there are multiple sites available to do internship actually. There is a internship site, so you can do that. Just get into some work. Don't wait at home to get a job in hand.
Absolutely. I think that was a very interesting thing. I think that is the way forward, even if there is no job available right now. Just brush up your skills as much as you can. Go for internships. There are actually a lot of websites. I cannot name them right now on this platform, but I'm sure a lot of you already know that they exist. And there are a lot of opportunities there as well. So just brush up your skill sets as much as possible. Thanks for that. Can I move on to you, Mr. Kumar, and have your thoughts? Any recommendations from your end? Any particular course that you would recommend for students to join at this point in time? And please unmute yourself from your end.
Yes, I'd say that during these times, it is a historical moment for all of us in our lives. We never thought of that such type of pandemic would be coming and we would be confined. Now, for youngsters, I'd only tell one thing: develop your hobby, whatever be your hobby. And do not think that a hobby which you pursue, whether it be a game, whether, as Mr. Mishra was talking about, reading books, maybe even fiction also, there is no problem in that. Develop a hobby. And I can tell you, I have a slight difference here. I want to say that reading or developing a conceptual knowledge is nothing but building the foundation on which the experience, which is the structure, is built. So first and foremost, it is required that you build your foundation. Right. And then on that, whatever experience you get, wherever possible, you build a structure. And then only if your foundation is strong and if you have a good structure, you will have a very sustainable life in future. I want to suggest to all my young colleagues or students or participants, I would say, that please develop your habit of whatever you are pursuing. Even if it is a slight vocational thing, you want to make something, maybe small equipments if you are interested in electronic, or if you want to make some group, or if you want to make some programming on your mobile, go ahead and do it. If you want to play, play also. No issues. Nowadays, I remember, sorry to speak in Hindi, I hope I would be.
No, sir, please.
Because we used to play a lot. और आजकल बच्चे जो है सो धूला से, जमीन से नहीं जुड़े हैं, सब कंप्यूटर में खेलते रहते हैं या व्हाट्सएप पर खेलते हैं. कहाँ गुल्ली डंडा होता है? I have a 40 years of experience in this area of HR. Having passed out from Xavier Institute in 80-82, I am working since then.
Very true.
तो अभी वो सब खत्म हो गया. अब बच्चों को तो रूम में बैठा दीजिए, कंप्यूटर दे दीजिए या फिर मोबाइल दे दीजिए, छोटे छोटे बच्चे उसमें लगे रहते हैं. तो खेलिए, उसमें भी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है.
Physical activity तो बहुत जरूरी है. It
Yes.
stimulates
And
your mind and your
आएगा
body.
उससे. The corona will run away if you have more, because your immunity will develop.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry.
Mr. Mishra, I think you want to add something, please.
Yeah, I wanted to suggest, keep writing. By chance, anybody, even if you write for a paragraph, start writing in the social media. But write for a cause, write for a concept. Don't just write crap, Start thinking, okay, for this month, I will start writing about environment. For this month, I will start writing about rain. Then you do research, you study and start writing. So please continue this. I have seen these youngsters, very rarely they really write. Only few of them they write and they become really good in the social media. So I will suggest the student community to start writing on a particular. You can write on history, you can write on mathematics, you can write on science, you can write on human behavior. Please keep writing. Small, even small paragraph is sufficient. Start
That
influencing
also
your thought
mentally
process.
makes you absolutely. Very important.
you.
And I think Observe Now is something as a platform that can help a lot of students here as well. As I told you in my introduction, since Mr. Mishra has given this idea to students, I'd like to just tell them that we are coming up with a citizen journalism app where you could download our app from iOS and Google in the next 15 days. And the idea is same. We have around 8 to 9 beats. We'll be talking about whatever is trending right now. We'll be talking about marketing, human resources. We'll be talking about entertainment. We'll be talking about digital. We'll be talking about technology. So anything that you wish to write about, you can just write that in just 120 words and, articulate your thoughts, put your thoughts together. And we'll also give you that platform where whatever you've written reaches out to the right set of people. So if you need to enroll yourselves as citizen journalists with us, I'm just going to put in my email address here. It's editor@observenow.com. So please reach out to me. We will be very happy to provide this platform. Thank you, Mr. Mishra, for giving this idea as well here. Please feel free to write. We'll give you the platform. You just put your thoughts together and mentally also make yourselves very happy. So moving on from that question, I think, Mr. Sharma, I want to move on to you with a different question here. There's a very interesting question. One of our panelists, Mr. Udipin Chatterjee, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. Mr. Chatterjee has a question and he wants to understand what are the specific job roles which are currently in demand and what future job roles can you see emerging in the agriculture sector? So could you just quickly take us through that?
What happens is when we talk about agriculture, we start thinking about a land and we start thinking about farmers, etc. But in today's world, the kind of research that is going on for making sure that the per hectare yield get increased, get enhanced, the kind of genetic study that is going on is tremendous. The kind of digitization that is going on in the field of agriculture, because even before I joined Bayer, I couldn't really envisage digital and agriculture. But the kind of digital progress that is being made in the field of agriculture, from analyzing your soil to climate to everything, it is tremendous. So it is not that you need to really get into the farming to be or be a farmer to contribute to agriculture. There are other things, other aspects of farming that you can contribute to as well. But obviously it requires passion for agriculture, because that is the basic, that is the base. And if you are passionate about agriculture, so and today what's the era is that we are not selling individual products. Even if you look at corporates, even look at Bayer, you look at other our competitors, we are no longer selling products, we are selling solutions, we are selling commitments, right? And for that, the organizations and corporates need to have that confidence that those will be delivered. So that's what it is. So in terms of digital space, in terms of data, which is in terms of artificial intelligence, machine learning, in terms of genetics, there are so many advanced fields through which also you can get associated with agriculture.
Absolutely. I think a very interesting thought there. Thank you very much. And obviously, it's not required just to be a farmer. There's a plethora of opportunities available if you actually are very interested. Thank you very much for that thought. can I move on to you, Mr. Mishra, and get your thoughts? What kind of jobs do you envision, or has Mr. Sharma almost briefly covered everything?
Okay, great. So I just wanted to give direct example of Tata Coffee so that people will be understanding this.
Bilkul.
But if you want to know more, please go through the Tata Coffee website. You will little know more. The reason is Tata Coffee has around 10,000 hectares of land, and we produce, coffee, tea, as well as paper and multiple other products. That basically, without disturbing the biodiversity, how do we really produce? Now, if you look at the life of a plant, has multiple times it goes through different seasons, rain, hardship of the sun, and everything it goes through. So it has pest control is a clear cut, pest control is a clear cut agriculture job, related job. If you are doing research on pest control, then you will understand, okay, what kind of pest attacks a particular type of plant. So people can actually get into that as a specialization. The other one is weather control. What just Rohit did mention to me. IBM now even government is coming with a particular app which is actually giving weather insights to all the farmers. So that is another area. Soil is another area. The fourth area is the distribution system of the food chain distribution system. The fifth one is actually producing, taking contact farming. So a lot of opportunities there in the agriculture sector now. It is the second generation product. For example, you are taking, I'm just giving an example, you produce avocado. Is it only to give as a raw fruit or a ripe fruit, or you can create products of avocado like, the creams or paste and everything, start selling those. So related products of agriculture are many actually. It has a impact which can create a lot of jobs. And it is one of the biggest job, provider of the country actually. Unfortunately, we are thinking very siloed. Agriculture means, okay, this is rice and dal and vegetables. This is what is our thinking process, but it is not limited there. You can have adjacent products coming out of agriculture and start thinking, multiple dimensions, what are the areas you can work. So I'm just giving the last example, Coorg particularly has a lot of elephants. And because you are in the jungle area,
Right.
it is a large jungle area, elephants, they come to the states for want of food and water. Now we cannot actually kill the elephants because they are part of our biodiversity and all. So what do we have to do? We have to have a digital system to understand how they are moving, which area they are moving, so that we will not allow workers to go there. Thousands of workers, they work in those areas. The safety system around your agriculture, that itself is a job. We have people working only on the safety system. So, the point I want to bring is, if you start looking at deeper and deeper about agriculture, you will identify at least 20 sets of different kind of jobs. Just to understand and manage agriculture sector. So please don't think limited about vegetable and rice and dal is agriculture.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Agriculture is really vast.
It's much more. It's much more. Absolutely.
Yeah. So
thank you, Mr. Mishra.
Thank you.
Can I have, Mr. Kumar, can I have your last thoughts on this?
Okay. Now, what I would suggest to our young participants who are there is that involve yourself in some vocation. Like, for example, Mr. Mishra was talking about agriculture. I'll tell you this, IFFCO Tokyo is an amalgamation of, or joint venture between IFFCO, one of the largest fertilizer company in this country, and led by Dr. U.S. Avasthi, the legendary Dr. U.S. Avasthi, the fertilizer man of India, we call him. And he is now developing nanotechnology along with soil testing, and all those things are being done. But the young participants, if they can go not only in agriculture is one aspect, of course, people should concentrate, whoever is interested, but you must have some vocation. If you want to take up, for example, insurance, there are very small courses run by Insurance Institute of India, which will help you get, if you are interested in getting a job only, that will help you get a job. That is licentiate and associateship, you do it. Very small. Maybe in 3 months one can complete that. And then online examination, online result, and then you become eligible at least to be considered for getting a job also. Because these are difficult times. In these difficult times, earning a livelihood is very important. So I therefore suggest that everybody should, whatever vocation they choose, they should follow it up so that they get something and they will be able to become good citizens of this country, well satisfied, and of course, earn their livelihoods as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kumar. We're running really short on time, so I would just quickly want to move on to Mr. Sen and Mr. Anil for their closing thoughts here. Mr. Sen, can you go first and give us a roundup and your closing statement?
Sorry, I just lost you. Your voice was cracking. Can you just repeat it again?
I said, yes. Can you give us your closing statements for the panel? Because
No,
we're
I think
running out of time.
I think I personally I enjoyed this conversation. Lot to learn from my other co-panelists because I'm not from an agriculture sector, but good to know how sector is doing and other nuances of it. My closing thoughts are: I will second what other panelists are saying. I think it's important to develop yourself and develop a good hobby. Invest your time in new skills which are there, and actually. Taking any kind of assignment or internship right now to gain that practical exposure without letting your ego come in place, and this is absolutely important, and develop a deep expertise in your subject matter. I think I will go with this: be humble and curious. These are the two qualities which will take you to places in your career throughout if you're humble and also curious. That's all.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sen. Mr. Anil, can I have your closing thoughts, please?
Yeah, I feel that agriculture should be taken as a business, and we should see where is the profit. Like, our university, along with Gramin Vikas Trust, Mr. Mayank Gandhi is there. Along with him, and there is one industry, HEG, with the help of them, we are convincing the farmers of our nearby areas to change over to the orchard production. CF crops they are taking, and very less profit they get. So we are trying to convince them, at least for some portion, they should go for this orchard development. We are going to provide them good varieties of different fruits. And even the market of those fruits we are going to develop. So in that way, we are trying to convince that more earning, you should think about the more earning, not on this traditional cultivation only. And apart from this also, I wish to say that there are some emerging skill fields which have to be given the attention, like precision farming, conservation agriculture, high-tech cultivation, renewable energy,
Right.
artificial intelligence, dryland horticulture. So such fields should be taken, and students as well as the workers, and they may be research workers or field workers also, they should take the interest of these fields so that their job prospects and other things, and that will become better. This is what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Anil. So to a note to all the panelists is attending the panelists here is recording session in case you want to review and in case there's something that you might have missed and want to share it with other people as well on our Facebook page on Observe Now. It will be there and you can share it, you can review it, anything that you want available. A note to all attendees as well. I know there are a lot of questions that have remained unanswered, but unfortunately we do only have a limited set of time with our panelists here. So I have given you my email address. It's editor@Observe Now. If there are any questions that you feel are really important and you want to put it out to the panel here, please send me those questions. I'm in touch with all the panelists. I will take them up with the panelists and I'll make sure you do get a reply from them. I will make sure to be the facilitator.
Just one point.
And yeah.
Being selfish.
So on that note, thank you very much, everyone. All the yes, sir.
Being selfish, I would like what Abhimanyu started with regard to the HR management. Maybe someday you can have a panel discussion on any aspect of HR management. I would look forward to it because I have been there in many such panels.
Absolutely.
So,
Same here.
Thank you, Abhimanyu.
Same here. Yeah.
And all of you are HR experts. All of you. Thank you.
All the panel, exactly. So thank you for giving us the inception of the idea for the next panel as well. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Thank you.
And thank you to all the panelists as well for joining us, for your
Thank
insights.
you
I'm
all.
sure it was greatly beneficial to all our students. Students, once again, any questions, write to me on editor@observe now. I'll make sure, even if it's a one-line answer, I will get an answer for you guys from our panelists here.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you very
You
much.
moderated quite well.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Thank
for
you.
the
Thank you, sir.
opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day, everyone.
You too. Bye.